Hello and welcome. Today we're in the upcoming Tier 9 French destroyer, the Mogador. And she is still a work in progress, thus subject to change, and she was changed from the last time that I showcased her on this channel. She has been nerfed quite a bit. She went from 4x3 torpedoes, meaning that 2 sets of 3 torpedoes on each side. She went from that to 1 set of 3 torpedoes and 1 set of 2 torpedoes on each side. So 10 torpedoes total. On top of that, her main battery range was reduced from 11.9 to 11.6 kilometers, but this is the stock version, so you have to add 10% to that. So it went from 13.1 or 13 kilometers to 12.8 kilometers. Her main gun reload time was nerfed from 7 seconds to 7.5 seconds, and her detectability range was increased from 8.1 kilometers to 9 kilometers. So in effect, that's 6.4 to 7.1 kilometer detectability nerf. However, even with these changes, I think the Mogador is still a fairly decent ship, even maybe strong, because she is just so fast. She can still get up to almost 55 knots. Her DPM is now around 145k with the reload upgrade, which is pretty okay, but not like amazing. It was obviously better before. But the thing is that I was pointed out something else that was rather interesting, in that the new nerfed Mogador is actually not that massively different from the Le Terrible, and I suppose also not that different from the La Fantasque. Both ships have better concealment, but obviously worse DPM. La Fantasque has even worse DPM, but the Le Terrible actually only has 120k DPM, without anything on it, whereas the Mogador has 128k. Obviously Mogador is tier 9, so she gets the reload booster, or sorry, not reload, but she gets the reload upgrade. Both of them get reload booster. But it does mean that the Le Terrible might not actually be quite as bad as people think. Now, she has some other quality issues though. And speaking of reload booster, you'll see it in action on this Yugumo. So it's 1535, I fired the gun salvo, I use reload booster now that I know that she is there. More 3k damage, more 3k damage, 4k HP left on the Yugumo, and goodbye! And that's 1520, so it took 15 seconds to sink this Yugumo from full HP with a reload booster. Yeah, Mogador's DPM is pretty damn good against DDs. Now she does have some problems though. She has 139mm caliber guns, meaning that even with IFHE, she cannot penetrate the standard armor of battleships at tier 8+. As a result, she is going to often have to rely on, setting fires to deal damage to battleships. But, she can set quite many fires, and you can use reload booster against battleships rather effectively too. If you set some fires on a battleship and they use damage control party, you use your reload booster and set her on fire again. And that is rather effective. Her torpedoes are still also pretty good. They are better than F3 torpedoes, for example. Obviously she has fewer of them, but I mean, they're still better. They are also 8 kilometer range, just like F3s, however, but they deal less damage. But the greatest part is that they have 1.4 kilometer detectability range compared to F3s that have 1.8 on the Shimakaze, meaning that these torpedoes give you much less reaction time because they are 75 knots, whereas F3s are 76 knots. And as a result, these torpedoes are pretty damn good, especially compared to Shimakaze's F3s. In fact, on a Shimakaze I would love to have these torpedoes. But on the other hand, I would say that they aren't quite as amazing on this specific ship, or the French destroyers in general, because, well, they are gunboats, and when you're a gunboat, you tend to open your fire. You open fire and you are either spotted or at least people know roughly where you are. And this means that it's very difficult to suddenly surprise them with torpedoes, and so these are more like defensive weapon or a weapon of opportunity. Unlike on the Shimakaze where they are primary weapons. And oh, the B cap has been capped again by an enemy destroyer, probably the Asashia that was next to the Izumo. I guess I'm just gonna reverse into it and I can shell the Jean Bart from here. Well, as you can see, 4 failed to penetrate. 1 fire. Wow, this time actually did penetrate, which is very nice. But the fire chance on these DD guns is very, very good. Also, interestingly enough, the gun caliber on these ships is higher than on the Colbert, which is a cruiser. Interestingly enough. But I suppose it doesn't really make a difference, to be honest. The AP on the ship is actually pretty good as well. It can hit the superstructure of battleship rather well, and it'll deal quite a bit of damage, probably more than HE will if you are at the right angle and range. So, on the map though, right now, we know there's an Asashio in this peak cap, and it seems Yugumo is on one side, so I guess I'm gonna just reverse onto the other side, so that if the Asashio tries to run away in my direction, I will be able to cut her off, and Yugumo obviously won't let her run away in her direction either. But it does seem like a battleship is actually entering this cap. Not sure if that's a good idea, considering there's, well, at least 1 torpedo destroyer in the cap, so that's probably a bad idea for a battleship, but I suppose, you know, people can do whatever they want. I'm not gonna push fully out though, because my concealment is 7.1 kilometers, so I would be spotted immediately, and well, I think a battleship might still want to take a bite out of me. I'm simply waiting here so that if the Asashio tries to go by, I will be able to cut her off and try to sink her. I could launch torpedoes here at any time, and they might hit the Asashio, but they might also completely whiff, so it's kind of a difficult thing to tell. But, oh, I see Asashio, so I guess I'll just fire the torpedoes. Maybe I'll get lucky. But I mean, she'll come around the island, so I can shoot her anywhere, right? Oh, the Jean Bart is going down soon. That's very nice. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I forgot. Asashio has good concealment, meaning that if she comes around the island and doesn't sail directly towards me, I won't be able to spot her. Well, so much for that plan, I guess. Fine, I'll shell the Izumo then. I'm gonna just sit here. I have speed boost available in 10 seconds. Nobody is targeting me, so I can literally just stay stationary. These torpedoes will not reach her because they only have 8 kilometer range. And speed boost is up, so if anybody targets me, I can speed boost away. And there it is, somebody targeted me. Only for a moment though. They went away, so I'm just gonna keep shelling. Well, his battleship name is appropriately named. His battleship is appropriately named though. Here, the blaze is on fire. Who could ever have thought? She's not using damage control party, so no need to use reload booster. And she is turning away, so I will only have a limited amount of salvos left on her. Surprisingly enough, nobody is still targeting me, even though I have been stationary here the entire time. But that's okay. Well, we've lost 5 ships, they've lost 3, so the situation isn't golden. Well, we've lost 6 ships, they've lost 3. This is not going so well. And they are taking the decap, meaning that they are gonna catch up on the cap zones. Okay, so Izumo actually used damage control party, but she's too far away for me to use reload booster now, because I only have 12.8 kilometer range, so I just stop and I'm gonna use speed boost, or I'm gonna just go forward. And I'm gonna go deal with the Jean Bart and the New Orleans. I launch a set of torpedoes, maybe they'll run into it, probably not, but you never know. And I guess after we deal with the 2 ships, we can deal with the Jutland. Alsace is at 11k HP. I think New Orleans has the priority because she is very low and she is more likely to shoot me and she has a better reload, so more difficult to dodge. Come on. Okay, I guess we'll need some more shells. Okay, I think New Orleans is down now, so let's switch over to the Jean Bart. I'm gonna keep firing HE right now, the angle isn't very good, but then switch to AP on the next salvo after this one. Because then she will show me some juicy broadside, and I've only done 1 penetration and 9 non-penetrations with HE so far. But with AP, that's a nice 5 over pens and 2 pens. Perhaps the AP is actually really good and maybe I should use it more. But there goes the Jean-Bart as well, and I guess now it's time to go and finish off that Jutland. I have a Miyoko coming as well, which is very good, because we will be able to pincer her. And I have a reload booster still available, so the Jutland should sink fairly easily. Oh, Miyoko has Hydra too. This is excellent, because it means that the Jutland can't suddenly surprise torpedo her and sink her. And there she is. Fire guns, use reload booster, and I think she's gonna go down. Unfortunately, the CV is attacking me right now. She did break my engine and did some damage, but Jutland is gonna go down regardless. And I'm gonna leave the Miyoko to cap this cap zone right now. And go towards the two fairly low health battleships. Well, okay, they're not fairly low health, but they aren't healthy either. Our Jean-Bart, wow, nice salvo on the Izuma. But unfortunately, the Iowa finished her off. Well, in that case, it's 4 ships against 6. If this weren't a CV match, I would say our odds were pretty good, because I would be able to do some torpedo shenanigans and whatnot, but because it is a CV match, I think that's unlikely. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna gunfight this Iowa as much as possible. And as you can see on the minimap, the Izuma was heading a different direction, so I can hopefully only fight her alone. Ooh, that was a nice salvo. I guess I must have hit the superstructure rather well. Well, she's on fire, so I'm gonna switch to the Izuma. I think our Lexington is gonna go down though. So it's gonna be a 3 against 6, because the Lexington's position isn't very good, and there's no way she can run away from that position. We do hold half of the cap zones, and the points are equal, so things are pretty good. I launched the torpedoes in case the Iowa comes in, but she doesn't seem to want to come closer, so I guess the torpedoes will just hit nothing and run out. Unfortunately, the CV is back again. Iowa fires, so let's dodge, or try to anyway. Yep, it's fine. I still have a nice 12k HP left. But Iowa is gonna be soon out of my range, so I guess I can't finish her off yet. Now, my idea is that, wow, those rocket plane strikes, yeah, that was probably the CV misjudged where I was, and oh, there's the CV. Now, right now I'm thinking I should probably try to chase the Iowa and try to finish her off. But I decide not to in a moment, because I think it's better to go after the CV for 2 reasons. One, the CV is a much softer target, even though she has a lot more HP than the Iowa. But the Iowa, first of all, is running away, and she's a fairly fast battleship. And the second reason is, when I try to fight this Lexington, I'm gonna be able to be inside the sea cap, meaning that I will be blocking them from getting points. And the other thing is that once I deal with the Lexington, we don't have a lot of time, but there might be time to do something. But with a Lexington around, I think I'm eventually just gonna go down, because I have no smokescreen or anything, and eventually the rocket plane damage is gonna add up. And again, she is a soft target, meaning that I can deal quite a bit of damage with HE to her. And as you can see, pretty much every salvo is every shell hit is a penetration. And so I'm using reload booster to try to deal as much damage as possible. And it seems the CV dropped torpedoes behind me. Yeah, these are never gonna catch up, even without speed boost, I think. Torpedo bombers against the French DDs are not good. Unfortunately though, I am running out of the cap zone soon, so I guess I'm gonna slow down to try to stay inside, because I want to keep all of my guns onto the Lexington so I can sink her as quickly as possible. But I don't want to also run out of the cap zone. You did see an Iowa try to fire at me from 16 kilometers, but obviously that's not gonna be very successful. CV is coming in again. This will decap me again. That's unfortunate, but she is gonna go down soon. 12k HP left. I really wish that fires actually did damage to CVs. She probably would already have gone down by now, but unfortunately fires only last like 5 seconds on a CV, so that's kind of unfortunate. And there's 3 minutes to go in the match, so I might as well use my speed boost. But goodbye CV, and now we should be able to fairly easily take this cap zone, once that CV leaves, of course. And I guess, oh wow, it's 2 versus 4 now. We are ahead in points and we are gonna take the C cap, so we should take even further ahead. However, looking at the minimap, with an Azuma that close to the Miyoko, I would say the chance that the Miyoko goes down is actually fairly high. And as a result of that, I think we need to sink another ship, or I need to sink another ship. I wanted to slow down here to try to dodge the shells from the Iowa, but then I realized that me slowing down here in the wrong way could actually get me hit by the torpedo, which would be incredibly bad, because that would basically guarantee the loss of the game. The Iowa is sailing away, so I guess it'll be difficult to catch up with her, so... Oh, the B cap is being kept, and I'm guessing it's the Asashio? Maybe it's the Rune though. But I'm thinking it's the Asashio, so my plan right now is to head straight towards the B cap, because if our Miyoko goes down, that's a 90-point swing, and we only have, what, 50 points ahead? So once Miyoko goes down, the enemy team will be ahead. And they will also probably at some point at least block the D cap, meaning that they would take even further ahead. And so my plan is to go into the B cap, and maybe I'll run into the Asashio, and in that case I could sink her. However, because I noticed the Iowa actually came back, my plan has changed. I will try to fight the Iowa. However, I only have 6k HP left, meaning that if I take a bad salvo or a good salvo from the Iowa, I could go down in one salvo. As a result of that, I need to be very careful, and I try to turn away so that I can disengage as much as possible, or dodge. I launched the torpedoes in case the Iowa starts sailing towards me. And yeah, there's the decap being capped already by the Azuma, and I think the Azuma and Miyoko have already engaged as well. So it's very unlikely that the Miyoko is going to survive that fight for the next minute, so it'll be very important to sink this Iowa. Luckily I have a fire and I still have a reload booster left in case the Iowa puts out the damage control or the fire damage control party, then I'll pop the reload booster and sink her, or try to anyway. 845 to 802 points. 800 and... Okay, come on, 4k HP. I have used reload booster. 850 to 814. Come on, we can do it. 25 seconds. 850 to 800. Oh, Miyoko went down. 803 to 857. 20 seconds to go. Come on, Iowa. Come on. We need to sink her. We need to sink her. 500 HP. 13 seconds. Come on. 176 HP. 10 seconds. Yes! Yes! With 7 seconds to go, we sunk the Iowa and took the lead with 851 points. And by the way, notice that they had 4 ships left when I was the only ship left in the game match. This means that this is a solo warrior. Unfortunately, it's a test ship, meaning that we don't get any achievements, so it's an imaginary solo warrior. It's also an imaginary Kraken, because I did sink 5 ships. I set 17 fires, 2 solo caps, 165k damage, 413 shell hits, 234 were pens, 174 non-pens. So, imaginary solo warrior, imaginary Kraken, and I got 2937 base XP. That's a lot. However, this Miyoko that got 2400 base XP, a tier 7 cruiser in a tier 9 game, that's amazing, so I compliment him. And also this Asashio, because they played well, these guys. These guys would have got over 2100 base XP if they had won this match. And because I got the solo warrior, I'm gonna be generous. Okay, sure, it's imaginary, but, you know, it's the thought that counts. Here's the damage. 62k fire damage, meaning that this would have been an imaginary witherer as well. And 102k or 103k from the shells. So almost all of the shells I fired were HE. I guess that explains the 17 fires. The fire chance on this ship is really good. Here you can see the damage on the Lexington, 45k from Alpha. Yeah, that's pretty nice. That's actually like half of my HE Alpha damage on the Lexington. Right? If you take out the Lexington shells, I would actually be quite a bit lower on the HE damage output. I mean, something like this Iowa, 100 shell hits and only 16k alpha damage. Oh yeah, I need to also compliment this Yuguma for good manners, for being so polite and nice, for giving me that early kill so easily. Here you can see her, 24 shell hits, and some fire damage, and that was it for her. Here you can see the credits and XP. So I think the Mogador she's decent, or at least strong, and I find her to be fun to play. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I would like to thank the patrons on Patreon. Thank you very much for your continued support, Active02, and I hope I'll see you guys next time.